Do you need some extra cash for the holiday weekend coming up? It's been 2 months since we've had a losing card. Parker won the Tapology prediction group last week, and he and me are both in the top 100. And Bobby, including you and our Tapology group, top 10% in the world, man. Over top 10%. Absolutely killing it. Coming off another successful card. And I feel a lot better about this card too, Bobby. I think that we have a real chance here to rack up some units. We're talking UFC Fight Night over in Baku. I believe this one kicks off at 8 a.m. So get your guys' picks in, Friday night. Do not be waiting to bet this card in the morning and then potentially oversleep. First one we're talking about, Bobby, is going to be Abus Magomedov versus Michal Oleksiejczuk, and we give you guys 5 fights every week to win you guys some money. So starting with this one, I just have to say this actually, I have a very, very interesting stat that you guys, if you're betting this fight, absolutely have to hear. But Bobby, I want to hear what you have to say first, because I think it's just going to be the cherry on top. So why don't you start?
I mean, any man named Abus Magomedov is not going to be getting my vote on this show is really all I can say about that. Yeah, I mean, Michal Oleksiejczuk, since making that move to the Fighting Nerds team, has seemed to really be benefiting. He's having a career resurgence, which is always encouraging at this late of a stage in his career to see him kind of starting to claw his way out from the bottom. We talk about on the show all the time. Nice to see the mental fortitude. Nice to see the ability to kind of go on those skids, come back. Have we seen the ceiling? Probably, but at least it's encouraging what we have seen. And granted, these aren't crazy names on his 3-fight win streak here. Gerald Meerschaert, Cedricus Dumas, and Marc-Andre Barrios. That kind of speaks for itself. But nonetheless, at least we know where the ceiling's at. Yet again, he's not as bad as those guys. So encouraging. And that's a lot of progress to make since 2023 when he lost to Brauhau and started training with the Nerds. Just a nice upgrade in his gym. Always encouraging also to knock out the world champion Chidi Njokwani by finish right after making that move. Always a solid feather in your cap when you can beat a high-level, top-tier guy, probably top 2 in the entire world in that weight class. There's not really too much to say about this fight. In all seriousness, Abus Magomedov has a huge gas tank issue. That's a concern for me. He's just really not lived up to that hype that you would expect a fighter from that region of the world. He just lost to Joe Pyfer by rear naked this past October. Man, that's not really aging too well. Beating Michel Pereira is not moving the needle. Brunno Ferreira is not moving it. Warley Alves in 2024. What are we doing, B? What are we doing? It just kind of speaks for itself, man. The guy hasn't even really been that active since 2023. He's just so spotty. Never really beat crazy competition. Literally, it's looking like his best win might be Ferreira or Pereira, or maybe Dustin Stoltzfus in his entire UFC career at this point. I like Oleksiejczuk. I'm really confident. I think he's got the power. I think he's got the gas tank. I think he's got the better gym. I'm rolling with him. I'll let you kind of go over the odds and everything and what you think.
Bobby, when this fight when it opened, Magomedov was the favorite and Oleksiejczuk was the underdog. These odds have completely flipped now, whereas Magomedov opened at the minus 115. He's now minus 105, which is what Oleksiejczuk opened as. Now Oleksiejczuk is at the minus 115. Why this is such a big deal? So the public, a little bit of the public money and definitely the public bets were on Oleksiejczuk. Bobby, since Wednesday afternoon, 36% increase in money onto Magomedov. Huge, huge swing. And that line moves down, minus 115 to minus 105. I didn't know Vegas was in the business of giving away money. I thought the house always won. I thought the house was somebody you don't want to bet against. And right here's that reverse line movement that is just super scary to see. So I think that on top of just everything that you said, man, Oleksiejczuk, he has the striking prowess, and with that 1.5 line, they're thinking that there's probably going to be a finish here, and Oleksiejczuk comes out pretty hot, and I think he might come out and catch Abus here. Now at this point, 54% of the bets are on Magomedov, 68% of the money at the minus 105, man. Like I said, that's a huge 36 from, he had 32% of the money, and now he's up to 68 and became the underdog. If that's not having you hop on to Oleksiejczuk after everything Bobby said, if those two combined, color after all of that, color me very shocked if Magomedov wins this one. And like you said, the gas tank issues too. Those are numbers not to ignore, like big time. Let's talk about this next fight. This is one that I kind of like this one way more than I should, Bobby. This is Ikram Aliskerov versus Brunno Ferreira. 68% of the bets are on Ikram Aliskerov, 85% of the money. I know Brunno Ferreira coming off that ugly loss to RoboCop. Buddy, can we just go back real quick to Bobby Knuckles and what happened in that fight? I believe Bobby Knuckles was the underdog in that one as well. Ikram here, a 3-1 favorite. Bobby, I think I like Brunno here, man. He's moved to even bigger dog odds at a plus 250. So, obviously, me and Bobby, when we were talking about the last fight, we're just taking money line on that one. I'm taking money line on Brunno Ferreira here, man. Maybe Aliskerov can get some wrestling going, but he's going to have to be ready to not get his head completely clobbered off. And looking at the 1.5 line, so Vegas is seeing this as a possible finish too. It's juiced a bit to the under 1.5. I'm telling you, man, I think this is going to be another big upset here. I'm taking Brunno Ferreira via KO, and give me those dog odds, man. If I'm going to be wrong, I'm going to be wrong on a plus 250. I do not think Ikram Aliskerov in this matchup should be a 3-1 favorite. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm not crazy about the 3-1 favorite odds. That's a bit ridiculous, but I think I'm going to go with Aliskerov on this. I just like the quality of competition. Pretty much Bobby Knuckles is the biggest blemish on his record other than Khamzat Chimaev when they faced each other in Brave back in 2019, I believe it was. So, I mean, at least his top-level competition that he's lost to at this point. Kind of, you could argue Robert Whittaker's on the tail end of his career for sure. But 2 years ago, reasonable to get finished by him. I think he's rebounded nicely. Andre Muniz doesn't do anything crazy for me, but Jung Young Park is kind of like a guy who's a dark horse in the division. So I kind of like that. Like to see that for sure because that guy was, starting to kind of make some noise in the division for himself there. So he pretty handily dismantled him this past October. Sucks, unfortunately, to have those odds I'm not a fan of. But Brunno Ferreira, man, just watching that fight with RoboCop, it's just every Brunno Ferreira fight I've seen. The other issue is I'm just never really walking away impressed. Marvin Vettori fight didn't really move the needle. He missed weight for that as well, which is pretty crazy to me to miss middleweight. It's pretty lenient there with the 185 upper limit. Other than that, man, he lost to Abus Magomedov, so that's always going to be an insult. Lost to Nursultan Rozabov. So it's kind of like every time he faces that step up in competition, just kind of seems like he gets shut down. Armin Petrosian doesn't do it for me. Jackson McVeigh doesn't do it for me. Give me Ikram Aliskerov. I just don't like the 3-1 favorite there.
I'm trying to pull it up right now, Bobby. The round 1 KO, Brunno Ferreira round 1 plus 650. I don't know if you're able, maybe you could do a parlay of that Brunno Ferreira round 1 KO, 3-leg same game parlay. It could be dangerous. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Asu Almabayev versus Charles Johnson. I find this one very difficult to break down, Bobby. 68% of the bets are on Asu, 91% of the money. Huge sharpling coming in on Asu at almost 3-1 favorite odds. That's pretty telling to me here. But Charles Johnson is a dangerous guy, I believe, with wins over Joshua Van and Loner Kavanaugh within, I believe, his last 5 or 6 fights. So it's hard to mark Charles Energy Johnson out, man. But Asu's looked great too. So how do you take this one?
Yeah, I think Asu's going to just have a pretty coasty decision going on here. Yeah, it's always crazy because you got, Charles Johnson, kind of like his cousin Michael Johnson, kind of, the guy who can lose to anybody, beat anybody on any given night. Just very
Right.
hard to predict, unfortunately. So that really caps his potential because, he'll lose to like Alex Perez, but beat Kavanaugh, and finish Kavanaugh also.
Yeah.
And, beat Sumadurje, beat Josh Ravan, as you mentioned, Jake Hadley. Those are really good names. It's just like Azat Maxim. But then you lose to Cody Durden. You lose to Ode Osborne. That makes absolutely no sense to me. It's just spinning the Russian roulette wheel. What version are you going to see show up? I think this time it's going to be Asu. I think it's going to be a decision. I think he's just going to control the distance, control the reach, control every aspect, dictate where the fight goes, where it takes place at. Really, his biggest thing since he's been in the UFC is he lost to Manel Kopp. That's aging very well for him, so that's nothing to be ashamed of. And also, there was a controversial eye poke sequence that kind of led to that finish. And even if you take that out of consideration, once again, who cares when you lose to Manel Kopp? That's aging very well. Other than that, guy's been on a roll since 2023 when he came in. Decisions over Matthews Nicolau, CJ Vergara, beat Ode Osborne by rear naked, Jose Ochoa, Alex Perez. It sucks because he is such a heavy favorite, but I just think this is a fight that's just kind of ripe for a Asu Almabayev decision fest. Pretty lackluster fight overall. Charles Johnson's going to do his best to make it exciting. He's just not going to ever be able to kind of close in that distance and really get the type of fight that he wants to fight, I don't think.
Are you doing Asu money line or decision?
Let's see what the decision's at. If I get anything,
minus
probably
110.
Oh, of course not. I'll just go money line, I guess.
Okay. If you're going money line, then I will too. Just double up on the safety.
Yeah.
We're skipping Nazim. Don't hate on us. But a little. That one might be interesting. That might raise some eyebrows, that fight against Camilo. But we're talking Shara Magomedov versus Michel Pereira. Oh, Bobby, this is this is gross, man. I think I have to be on Shara Bullet. Once again, man, a lot of 1.5 lines on this card. Minus 395 is really hard to bet. But man, I feel like he's been just getting a lot of decisions lately. The decision and KO, we go plus 130 and plus 140. KO decision double method is minus 350, so you get nothing there. Michel Pereira's been looking a lot better too. I'm kind of leaning like a Shara decision. What are you thinking?
I'm definitely going Shara decision. That's my official prediction on Tapology as well.
Okay.
Michel Pereira is exciting, but he's just that classic example of we know what this guy is. There's no hidden dimensions to him. I mean, his last fight was against Zach Reese this past February. That was a terrible stinker. He barely won. It was a controversial split decision, if I remember correctly. Before that, he was on a 3-fight skid. Once again, man, Apus just keeps making his name known on this card.
He does.
This is basically like him and all of his children, man. It's like 6 degrees of separation in this thing. He Apus beat Michel Pereira, Anthony Hernandez beat him. No shame in losing to Hernandez, but like 3-fight skid, and then you barely just eked it out over Zach Reese, who once again is never going to perform at a high enough level consistently to really go anywhere in the division. So it's very telling of the decline in the state of your career when you can't convincingly beat him. And when you're only 32 and you're supposed to be in the prime of your career and you already have a 32-14 record, those are other red flags that are just constantly waving around in the wind that I just can't ignore. At this point in your career, you're supposed to have more of a clear identity. You're supposed to either be making forward progress or backwards progress. And yeah, this is just a 4-fight streak that is just screaming, your favorite wide receiver that should have called it quit 2 seasons ago, unfortunately. I think, that little 3-fight streak, actually, damn, it was like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 shit. The streak he went on from September 2020 that was ended by Anthony Hernandez, you're not going to replicate that. That is the peak right there. That is the almost 2,000-yard season, right? That's the 1,900-yard season. you're never getting that back. That's done. That's over with. And especially, like I said, 32, and you're not getting any better, and now you're skidding out, and you've had way too many fights. That's clear to me that you start taking these fights way too early, and it's not really going to work out for you. I think Shara, it's going to be a striking match. Obviously, both of them are going to want to strike. I think Michel's going to do that stupid thing he does where he tries to do these little acrobatic kicks and everything else. And he's another guy that I feel like has had gas tank problems, even though it's only a 3-rounder. I feel like he's just going to continue to gas out. He's going to do stupid little tricks, try to make it entertaining, try to showboat. Shara's not going to fall for it. It's not going to matter because he's not going to be able to execute that, like Michael Page does with his showboating. It's two entirely different things. And he's just going to just pitter-patter his way to a pretty easy, coasty decision. That's how I see it.
I think we're locks up there, man. 87% of bets on Shara, 93% of the money. So once again, that's, we had a 6%, or no, sorry, not 6%, a huge sharp lean on Asu at the minus 270. And now we have I can't say it's a super huge sharp lean. It's only 6%, but still, any percent of a sharp lean on a minus 395, that's telling you something right there. That is big time telling you something. And then, Bobby, that gets us to the main card here, man. That's Manuel Torres versus Rafael Fiziev. And, dude, this card, I believe before, Fiziev had 57% of the money. Now it's down to 47% of the money. And he's dropped and dropped, man. He's down to minus 105. Well, I said dropped and dropped. I think he opened at, once again, the minus 115. I think these two just flipped again. Right now, 26% of bets on Torres, 53% of the money. So huge sharp lean. And, that's why these odds have changed. It's just because a lot of money's been coming in on Torres. Do you agree with all this money coming in on him, or are you kind of pumping the brakes on that?
This fight's one of the most compelling fights on the whole card for me. It definitely is a very close fight. This is one that I agree with the odds makers, or at least from the perspective of DraftKings, I'm looking at that this should be almost a pick 'em. Fiziev at the minus 105, Torres at the minus 115. I'm pretty confident on that. This is one where I can see a very strong argument for either guy. You got Rafael Fiziev. I mean, he's fighting at home in Azerbaijan. That's where he's repping now. Last time he was in Azerbaijan, we had an eerily similar matchup June last year. Hey, and it's June again. So, wow, it just keeps adding up. The numbers, Mason, what do they mean? Ignacio Bahamondes was his last win in these past 4 fights, and that was June 2025. And you guessed it, Bakhmut, Azerbaijan. And it was against a tall Latino heat striker who had a significant height and reach advantage over him. So some of you might have the yarn chart out right now and be adding up and looking at the dots and, smoking the reefer, doing the Eddie Bravo. I mean, I caution you against that because I just rewatched that fight right before this, and it was the most bizarre fight I've ever seen in my entire life. Both guys were doing that thing that is often criticized for switch hitters and MMA, which is switching stances for literally no reason other than just to switch stances for the sake of switching stances. It was almost kind of like they were salsa dancing with each other. Literally, one would switch, the other one would switch. One would switch, the other one would switch. And it's like there's no reason for this other than you just feel like it. There's no strategy behind it. I don't know if Bahamondes was the one who was mainly looking like, oh, man, if I get the open stance matchup, I'll really be able to clobber him. And it just never materialized because it was honestly a god-awful fight. And really the biggest reason why he won over Bahamondes, and he was fading pretty quick in the third once Bahamondes realized he needed a finish, was because I think he got takedowns. I think that's what kind of led judges to give those rounds to him. Was kind of the punctuation mark of the takedowns and 2 otherwise lackluster rounds where there wasn't really too much of note going for either guy that you kind of had to defer to it at that point. Because, I mean, yeah, you could argue it's high-quality competition, but I just, coincidentally enough, once again, with coincidences and yarn charts, he reminds me Fiziev does of Brad Riddell. And it's kind of crazy because in 2021, he's kind of like added to the grave of Brad Riddell, just getting finished and ultimately retiring from actually being a fighter himself. He went into coaching. Yeah, that was the first fight where he started that 3-fight skid, where you have these talented young guys in the division, very promising, very technical, very tight, precise, not sloppy at all, just tacticians. And they just kind of don't really live up to that, man. These promising prospects that just kind of over time, for whatever reason, I think the knee injury against Gamrot 3 years ago is always hard to come back from. For whatever reason, he just doesn't really hit that ceiling. And I think, unfortunately, he's just another example of guys like Pereira, who are young, but they have just a lot of wear and tear, just a lot of fights, just a lot of themes that just they kind of peaked early, unfortunately. That's just kind of what reminds me of Fiziev because, it's 2 losses to Justin Gaethje, that unfortunate ACL tear, I believe it was, against Gamrot.
Yeah, it was.
And, no shame this past January, losing to Huffy. But, coming off a pretty bad knockout like that and going up against another guy who's a knockout artist who currently has, 53% of his wins coming by that. And it's translated to the UFC against, Drew Dober, a guy who has a pretty strong chin that, recently it's been cracked. But last March, it wasn't as bad as it's gotten. He cracked Grant Dawson, finished Chris Duncan, Nicholas Malta, Frank Camacho. These are pretty decent wins. Frank Camacho at the time was okay, probably starting to skid. I think I'm going to go with Torres here, especially when it's so close. Another pretty significant height and reach advantage, 73.5-inch reach, 5'10". Fiziev's 5'8", 71.5-inch reach. I don't think he's going to play that game Bahamondes did of just Bahamondes just didn't use his reach in that fight. He just, like I said, switched stances, and that was it. He never got a jab going. He tried the leg kicks. He had some success, but he just kind of abandoned it. And he also tried way too much stupid, flashy, spinning nonsense, which led to him being taken down. And I just don't think Manuel Torres is going to do that. I think Torres is only going to do calf kicks. He's not going to go for those spinny, flashy kicks that Fiziev's just so easily able to just lean back from, like he did against Mark Diakase, like he did against Bahamondes, like he does against pretty much everybody who tries that against him. And I honestly think Torres is going to crack him, especially over 5 rounds, man. I think he's going to crack him. I think he's going to put him down. Justin Gaethje had him wobbled multiple times in both fights. If one Justin Gaethje can crack your coconut, what can 2 Manuel Torres do in a trench coat? I don't want to talk about it. This is a family-friendly channel. I think Manuel takes it. What do you think?
If you take away the ACL injury, Bobby, and everybody who got a knockout on the White House lawn, how many people has Fiziev lost to in the 2020s?
6.
In the 2020s? That's what 600, yeah. Take this part of the 6 and bring it this way. That's a 0. That is 0 losses. Man, Ignacio Bahamondes, like you said, man, finished Manuel Torres, whereas that is the win that Fiziev does have over his last 5. He's a dog, man. I just, and like the guys, like we were just talking about fighting, he fought those people you've already mentioned. RDA beat King Green, knocked out Renato Moicano, and then going over the Torres side, man, they're not bad, but like Drew Dober in the big 2025, Grant Dawson, for real, Chris Duncan, like disappoints at every turn. Nicholas Mata, like I don't like it, man. I lost to Sadyakov that is on this card, man. I think it's Fiziev. I like Fiziev a lot in this one to get it done at home. I have a hard time saying KO. I feel like it's going to be a KO, but especially at these odds, man. Once again, a 1.5 line for the main event. That's crazy. They think somebody's going down. Yeah, give me Fiziev, man. I just don't think Manuel Torres has fought a guy as good as Fiziev.
I hope you're right. I like Fiziev, but man, I want him to win from a personal moral standpoint. I just don't see it. I just don't see it. It's hard. It's hard once you start skidding out like that. But I hope you're right.
I think I was saying Fiziev the entire time. Fiziev, however you pronounce it. You know what? It doesn't really matter much when you're winning as often as we are. It's like name pronunciation. I'll take a second place or third place medal for that.
Right.
Bobby, let's talk about our special bets here to end the show. And just like, way to go, us also. We tried to record much quicker this week. Let us know if you guys like the quicker format. Getting it done like just a little bit over 25 minutes probably. So, I mean, we like hit it right on. So if you guys liked it, like, a little quicker sped up, let us know in the comments down below. Please leave us something there. And also let us know who you guys are on. But the finishing fighter, Bobby, presented by Fliff. If you guys bet $5, they'll give you $50 in bonus bets as well as a 100% deposit match. We went off script here. He is not going to be one of the 5 that we talked about. Well, we actually did talk about him a little bit, but he's not one of the 5 fighters that's fighting in those. Nursultan Ruziboev, man. He's fighting Andrei Pulayev. Fight props, I believe it was under. No. Winning method to win by finish. Nursultan Ruziboev to win by KO, submission, or DQ. Yes, at plus 130. So, Ruziboev by finish, plus 130, man. I like that a lot. What's your haymaker going to be?
Yeah, this is another week where it feels like you just don't want to see your boy shine. Pretty difficult here. Let's go over some things, but nothing's really popping out too crazy style for me here. So that's unfortunate. They don't make it easy for a player. Let's see. I think I got something in my old front pocket for you. You know what? I'm going to pull a sneaky. I'm going to pull a sneaky here. This is something I had my eye on, and I'm glad I remembered it. We have Matthews Camilo, however the hell you say it, when he's going up against Sadikov. 100% of his losses have come by sub. Sadikov doesn't have too many subs, but he did choke out Terrence McKinney's chicken. And he does at least have 18%, 2 wins by sub. And at plus 550 Sadikov sub, why not? Why not?
Yeah, we got him in there. We managed to get a couple extras in. Plus 550 Nazem Sadikov. Okay. Plus 550 Sadikov for the haymaker. And just throwing this in this bonus one if you want to put just a tiny thing onto that. Ferreira KO round 1. You can single game parlay that for plus 700.
That's a good one as well.
A little bonus. Bonus for making it to the end. Guys, thank you for watching. I guess, yeah, we'll be off next week. Enjoy your 4th of July, everybody. Get outside, spend some time with family. Try not to overheat. Try not to blow any fingers off. Well, hopefully you did get a couple extra fireworks with that extra money you made from this card with us. Thank you for watching, guys. Please subscribe if you haven't subscribed already, and we'll see you in the next episode. Peace, guys.
Peace.